trying to recruit Kevin Durant to come to New York City. Phil was nowhere to be found, and it ain't because of his bad hips. It's because the man is lazy. It's because the man don't give a damn. He never wanted the job, and that is that.
We want you guys to weigh in at home. Whose side are you on here, Phil Jackson or Carmelo Anthony? Well,
there can't be anybody that would be on Phil Jackson's side. There can't be.
Maybe it's 11 rings. This just in, Stephen A. has no chill today. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for being with us on First Take. Hour 1 in the books, Hour 2 on deck. Stephen A., what else are you hot on?
Well, some recognize him as arguably the greatest soap opera actor in American history. The one and only Eric Braeden, Victor Newman of Young and the Restless. Of course, Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard. He'll be on the show eventually as well. But my people will call their people, and we'll get together because that's what great actors do. Hour number 2 of First Take, up next.
4 takes, that's you. 3 takes, not me. 2 takes, you lucky. First take, you got me.
Let's do what we do. Pick it up in the association. Remember this verbal altercation between Kevin Durant and Draymond Green during Saturday's loss to the Kings? Well, apparently, it was just a little reverse psychology. Multiple sources close to the situation informed ESPN that Green intentionally approached Durant aggressively in an attempt to light a fire under a superstar teammate. And speaking with the media on Tuesday, Green was asked what led to the confrontation with KD. Listen up.
Nothing in general. It was actually a tactic. But that's for us and for us to know and everyone else to figure out. But everybody who makes a big deal out of it probably are losers. So that's how I view it. Anyone who knows anything about winning know that that's going to happen. It just is what it is. Like I said, if you got to hide something from one of your teammates and you can't say something to somebody, then you're in a bad situation. And me personally, I don't want to be in that situation. If you're on a team where you can't talk, where there's moments and you need to yell at each other, maybe that yelling is to get each other going.
You're a loser if you make a big deal out of it, Max, but we got to do it anyway. Like, love, or hate Green trying to fire up KD?
I like it. I don't love it or hate it. I like it. I like it because there's a vacuum there. He's the motivator on the team. I'm going to get to that in a second, but there is a vacuum.
Okay.
Before I get to the vacuum, let me say that there are teams throughout history where that motivator, that enforcer of the kind of culture of the team, is not the best player. Bill Laimbeer, or even a guy who's really good but on a stacked team like Singletary, right, for the Bears. That guy can be the enforcer of the culture. He can be the vocal one. He can be the motivator, and that's what Draymond Green is for the Warriors. But Draymond Green's not only that. Draymond Green's also the leader of the team. And that's okay, too. You can have he's a very good player. He's good enough to be the leader of some teams. But the issue with Golden State, when you really think about it, how could they possibly lose even last year to LeBron and the Cavs? How might they lose this year, if that's even possible, if you can imagine that? It's that that character I just described is not one of the best 2 players on the team. He's not even LeBron and Wade that first year in Miami had some problems because LeBron was the best player, but Wade was the leader. Even that dynamic caused some problems, or maybe even OKC. Durant's the best player, but Westbrook's the leader. But here, neither Steph nor Durant is that guy. It's not even Clay. It's Draymond Green, who at best is the 4th best player on the team. And that speaks to a weakness of the team, I think, to tell you the truth. Nothing. So I don't hate it because Draymond is filling the vacuum. And because players of his caliber have been that guy on teams who've won championships. But he's more than just the motivator or the enforcer of the culture. He's also the de facto leader because the best 2 guys, I don't think, are.
It's a simple answer to this question. If you want the Golden State Warriors to win, you absolutely, positively love what Draymond Green did and what he said. If you don't want them to win, you hate it. Because what you saw Draymond Green doing with Kevin Durant is why Kevin Durant's about to win an NBA championship. That's why. Because what you have is somebody who is qualified to get in his face and demand from him the greatness that we all know is inside of him. Nobody on OKC was in a position to do that. Russell Westbrook, as great as he is, was still a head case in terms of youth. So as a result, even though he was the alpha male in terms of his competitive fervor, that old school competitive fervor that Paul Pierce swears only him and DeMarcus Cousins has in today's NBA game, compare that to whatever you see everywhere else. It's just non-existent. It's one of those situations where you're Kevin Durant. I'm going to say this again. I don't care where you go in the world. Outside of LeBron James, you can't find another player better than Kevin Durant. And some could argue as a talent, Kevin Durant is like the Aaron Rodgers to LeBron James, Tom Brady. So when you look at it from that perspective, you have to think about what Draymond Green is doing here. Draymond Green is no scrub. Draymond Green, you brought up Bill Laimbeer. You know what made them so valuable? You know why they were able to be leaders? Because they were willing to do the dirty work you weren't willing to do. It's not about talent sometimes when it comes to leadership. It's about what are you willing to do to elevate us to the promised land? What sacrifices are you willing to make? All in the interest of winning. You have a situation where at Draymond Green, Game 7, NBA Finals last year, 32, 15, and 9. He shows up when it counts. In the throes of everything, he's also willing to put in the dirty work. He's willing to get his hands dirty. He's willing to get his feet dirty. He's willing to do a whole bunch of stuff. And what he said was Kevin Durant, by getting in his face, he is letting Kevin Durant know that no matter how great you are, that wasn't good enough. That's why you're here.
You're wrong on a couple of counts.
Hold on. That's why you're here. Because what your greatness is, it wasn't good enough. That's why you're here now. And this is what is required in order for you to capture the chip.
And if he was the best or second best player on the team, that would be more effective.
He doesn't have to
Well,
be.
We'll see. I mean, it didn't work last year, did it?
Who?
Well, Draymond actually got himself suspended in Game 5.
Well,
that's your
true.
leader. That fiery guy should, I mean, the fiery guy is fine. He can be that.
Yeah.
But he's not just the fiery guy. He's also the leader of the team.
We're talking about the conversation.
So there are two things you're wrong about.
We're not talking about, him getting ejected. We're talking about the conversation with Durant.
Right. And I'm expanding it to point out the weakness on the Golden State Warriors. If they win, it will not be because Kevin Durant has finally figured out that whatever's inside him has to come out. It'll be because they have an overwhelming talent advantage coupled against the rest of the league, including the Cavs, coupled with an excellent strategic system. That's why eventually they went to Game 7 and barely lost at home last year without Kevin Durant. Then they added Kevin Durant. It just may be too much for the rest of the league. I disagree. Whoever had to go to Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Larry Bird or Magic Johnson to try to draw that out of them. No one had to.
We know that.
Either you have that, and that's part of who you are, or you don't. Kevin Durant went to Golden State partly because, as I keep saying, he doesn't want to worry about who takes the last shot. He wants the open man to take the last shot. And if that's him, that's the way basketball probably should be played. Look, and if that's Kevin Durant, then he's fine taking it. But the idea that there's some kind of requisite fire that Draymond's going to draw out of him, that's a flawed idea.
How is that flawed?
It points out precisely the weakness of this team. Neither Steph nor Durant is that kind of personality, and those are the two best players.
First of all,
I'm not saying it can't work, but it is a weakness when your fourth best player got to try to drag that out of you.
First of all, Steph does have that dog in him. Make no mistake about it. Steph Curry has that dog in him. Don't think for 1 second that he doesn't have an assassin's mentality. We have seen it. We have witnessed it.
He's underperformed in consecutive finals.
He's underperformed in consecutive finals. Last year he was hurt. You and I both know it.
Oh, I agree.
Last year he was hurt, okay? But he has...
and the finals before wasn't terrible.
Hold on. Forget all of that. He has underperformed in NBA finals. That is fair. But he does have that dog in him because we've seen it in postseason competition. We've seen it when people have gotten in his face and tried to challenge him, and he's...
LeBron screamed on him. He walked away.
That's one guy, Max.
Yes, that's the number one guy you got to beat.
I said playoffs. Well, you have to beat him now. You beat him the year before.
None of those other guys matter if you're Steph.
Forget all that because I want to get to my other point. Because LeBron is 6'8", 250, locomotive, and he got in the little dude's face.
You think Isaiah Thomas cared about that?
Excuse me. Isaiah Thomas had the bad boys to help intimidate him.
You think if he didn't, he'd care?
Let me ask you a question. First of all, I'm going to say this again. Isaiah Thomas had bad boys with him. No one got in Isaiah Thomas's face but so much because they would have to deal with Mahorn and Lambert and Sally and Rodman and James Edwards. Oh, stop it. I'm telling you what I know. I'm not debating this. The point that I'm trying to make to you, the bad boys, you had that around you. That's not Golden State. All you have is Draymond. And what Draymond is saying to Kevin Durant is, this ain't about your skill because we know what you can do. It's about you having that little dog inside of you.
But either you got it or you don't. No one can talk you into that.
No, wait a minute. When Kevin Durant being 6'11", with a 7'6" wingspan, who can pull up from 30, who's got a handle, who can average 30 in his sleep, you might not have to be the rough rider, but you do have to have that little something inside of you at the moment it's called for. Now, he says, quietly, not publicly, he said, hard for me to do with Russell Westbrook. Draymond is like, you don't have that excuse now. We don't want to hear that.
That's what I'm saying. By the way,
which is why you should love it.
No,
that's why you should love it.
Because Draymond is doing what he has to do. That's the appropriate thing for him to do. That's why I like it. But I don't love it because it points out a larger issue with Golden State. If that wasn't the issue with Golden State even before Durant, they'd have won last year. They have the greatest half-court offense in the history of basketball by far, and they couldn't score a basket in the last 4.5 minutes at home in Game 7.
But that's the point.
And now they got Durant. He's the same kind of guy.
I'm trying to answer your question.
But it wasn't a question.
The point is it's Game 7. Without that, they were in Game 7 of a back-to-back NBA Finals appearance. So if that's all the difference is, and a conversation that may be uncomfortable with Kevin Durant is all it takes, you can't sit there and say that might be a bad thing.
No, I'm not. I like it. I'm not saying I like it.
There's more we want to get to, guys. And speaking of the finals and Durant, we were thinking about the backlash he would get if the Warriors didn't win the title, and then the praise LeBron James would get if he and the Cavs were to repeat as champs with that new super team. Do you think there's more upside in LeBron winning or in Durant losing the title, Max?
In more downside for Durant losing or upside for LeBron winning? It's actually upside for LeBron winning. And I reject the comparison of LeBron to Brady and Durant to Aaron Rodgers, because LeBron's actually more talented than Durant. I mean, Durant's a more talented scorer, that's all. LeBron is a brilliant passer on the level of a Magic or a Bird, Jason Kidd type brilliant passer, but in a power forward's body, who's also like the fastest guy end-to-end in the NBA. I mean, the measurables, big and strong, the whole thing, and can score and can shoot better than advertised. LeBron's the most talented and the best and the biggest winner at this point in the NBA. I don't think Durant's in his class. But I'll say this. If LeBron, after an historic finals performance without Kevin Love or Kyrie Irving, who took the Warriors 6 games in a Jordan-esque performance without those guys, and then he got those guys back and beat a 73-win team down 3-1 and beat them on their home floor in Game 7 by blocking a shot and then icing the game with a free throw on a bad wrist after he missed the first free throw, made an adjustment, clutch on the line. If LeBron James beats this Warriors team that improved over last year with Kevin Durant, he is squarely back in the Michael Jordan conversation. If Durant loses, that's bad. But we cut guys some slack first year on a super team. Just like, I know it's different because they've already won together. Even
I don't know about this super team.
He's going to get cut some slack in this sense, Molly. He'll get killed this year. But then he'll be back next year and the year after that. And eventually they'll win a couple championships. And it will be a mark against him the way it's a mark against LeBron in Miami. But eventually you can cover over that. But if LeBron wins this, the sky's the limit. The upside is infinite if he beats this Warriors team after having beaten it last year and wins the rubber match. Game, set, match, LeBron.
First of all, you're wrong. Secondly, you don't know that to be true, because what if the Cleveland Cavaliers found a way to get Melo without having to give up Love or Kyrie? Then will we be saying that? No. So let's wait until the trading deadline transpires, see what happens, and then maybe we're able to make that proclamation. But there is no doubt that this would be a catastrophic, devastating blow to Kevin Durant if he were to lose this game. Let me get this straight. You are up 3-1 in a Western Conference Finals. You lose Game 5. You choke in Game 6. You show up too late in Game 7. After hugging your little brother and telling him we're going to come back and get them next year, you depart for the very team that beat you a month later. After you do that, the very next season, you go to that team who won an NBA championship, who's been the back-to-back NBA Finals with the greatest shooting backcourt in the history of basketball, with Draymond Green and Livingston and Iguodala and the crew still there. The only difference is you in replacing Andrew Bogut and Harrison Barnes, and you lose in the finals to the Cleveland Cavaliers, or earlier, it would be disastrous. Kevin Durant he could never shake that.
No,
oh,
it would
no.
be huge.
Oh, no.
There's no denying.
I don't want to hear that.
There was no denying that would be a tragedy of epic proportions for Durant.
Stop right there.
Well,
Tragedy of epic proportions.
Wait.
Tragedy of epic
There's no
proportions.
denying it. The reason it's an interesting question is there's also no denying the enormous upside for LeBron. And what we're doing here is debating which would be bigger. And I'm telling you, the biggest prize in all of sports, that's across every single sport, is Michael Jordan, who is the Michael Jordan of basketball.
That's true.
That's Michael Jordan. And LeBron's chasing the highest mark in the history of known athletic competition on earth. Michael Jordan. That's the biggest prize there is. Durant, on the other hand.
I'm getting to the point where I don't even like talking basketball with you at certain moments because I cannot believe some of the things that you say. So LeBron James, 4 NBA Finals losses is going to be mentioned in the same breath as Michael Jordan.
If he
losses.
He just beat the 73-win team. He just beat the 73-win Warriors down 3-1 on their home court in the last possession of the game.
You know what, guys? I think we should.
And here's the end of it.
Max,
this is not Durant's only shot to win a championship with Golden State. If he never wins a championship with Golden State, that's one thing. But just this year, he'll survive that.
I have a novel idea. How about we talk to some champions that did it the good old-fashioned way? They became a super team because of no days off. Up next, 2 Patriots in the house. Rob Ninkovich, Dante Hightower. Cannot wait to talk to them about the heroics they pulled off. That's next. What's up, guys?
What's up?
You can tell we're real calm over here. We're real relaxed. Not too passionate.